celebrating 15 years of Young Turks.
Welcome back. You're watching our very special edition of Young Turks, and we are with the co-founders of Truecaller, Alan and Ami. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We spoke about everything that Truecaller is doing and a lot of new features. One of the features that we spoke about was flash messaging. You have entered the payment space. You're already in the software development space. What else do you have up your sleeve?
Truecaller is a product for the masses. It brings trust and security into any communication that you're having. But we've always felt that this trust has been only placed with people who have smartphones, right? Users who have smartphones. So we've been working for a very long time, and now we've finally completed the solution and a tie-up with Airtel that we're launching Truecaller Caller ID together with Airtel for the hundreds of millions of Airtel feature phone customers.
Okay. Obviously, there can't be any app download here. So how does it work? Is this an integration at the back end that's happening with Airtel?
That's correct. So we've integrated with Airtel, and whenever you receive your phone call, you will just see the name of the person as soon as you sign up to this service.
Well, that is one of the big partnerships. I believe you also tied up with Google for their video calling platform, Google Duo, their app. Talk to us more about this integration.
So through this Duo integration that we're doing, you will be able to make all of your communications, including video calls, straight from your Truecaller dialer and contacts. So you'll still need to have the Duo application installed, but once you do, you can continue to use the same application to initiate those calls in a seamless and effortless way.
But is it that seamless, considering how they will have to have the Truecaller app, then they will have to have the Google Duo app, considering how one of the most popular messaging platforms like WhatsApp has now introduced voice calling, video calling. It's just something that's more organic. People are used to that platform.
What is different about Google Duo is that the way Google is approaching the market, they're actually trying to make it accessible for more and more people, putting a lot of effort in different areas and in like optimizing video quality on low quality networks, etc., etc. So these are all things that they're doing that are quite unique to the capabilities of Google. And so with this tie-up, we'll just make sure that this reaches the market quicker, and so that the engagement of the app increases.
But is Google Duo still seeing the kind of pace in terms of user base and in terms of user acquisition? Is that still happening, or is this tie-up an effort to kind of accelerate that pace for the app itself?
So we can't comment really on the behalf of Google, but what we can say is that we're really excited about this tie-up, and the product rollout with the Duo integration will happen in the coming weeks.
Speaking of Google, just how I see Truecaller's approach is very Google-like. How Truecaller started as an app to identify spam numbers to what it is now. You're into the messaging space, you're into the video calling space. You've tied up with a telco in India to reach out to the feature phone market. You have entered into the payment space. Are you stretching yourself too thin?
Truecaller has been around for 8 years. And during those 8 years, we've learned a lot. We've learned that focus is the most important thing when it comes to building a company. And we've done our mistakes in the past, for sure. Today, Truecaller is a different company. We've matured in a way where we can execute faster than many other companies. So I would say, if you would have asked me this question 3 years ago, the answer would probably be different.
All right.
Today, we're
a lot more confident.
We're a lot more confident. We understand our users, but more importantly, we understand our own bandwidth.
Are you really bullish on understanding your users and your bandwidth, or is this more like a hit and trial method?
No, absolutely not. As I said, this is 8 years now, and we're very confident on what we do. And to be honest, this has always been our plan from day one. We wanted to, as we've been mentioning, we wanted to make the whole communication experience better. We started with calls. and now we're going into other verticals of communication and introducing Flash.
Okay, since you mentioned that Truecaller has been around for 8 years, what was more difficult, starting up or staying relevant? What's harder?
Staying relevant is, I wouldn't say it's hard. It's all about having the mindset of always innovating. And I think every entrepreneur has that mindset, to be honest. Starting up was just fun. We were two guys in Nami's kitchen and just coding. So that was the easy part. But being two founders is always great because, when there are ups and downs, there's always one who will be pushing the other one and, saying it will be all right. So the whole journey has been very challenging, but extremely fun.
And back then when you were sitting in Nami's kitchen in Stockholm, did you ever imagine that India is going to be one of the largest markets for Truecaller?
We had no idea. India found us and we're super happy and blessed to be a part of this amazing growth and these amazing opportunities as well. And we never we just do what we believe in and then we just follow the path.
Of course, India is one of your largest markets, but now you've entered several other emerging markets. Give us a health check. How is Truecaller performing in those emerging markets?
Extremely well. We're seeing a lot of markets, especially in Africa, like Nigeria, where smartphone penetration is growing extremely fast. And since we've seen these patterns in the past, it's really awesome to see them happening again and recognize them. So we're seeing, we never went out to say, hey, we want to go big in the US like many other companies do. We said, we want to grow where our consumers are. And where we also feel that there is more passion and more engagement, where we actually can interact with users. So that's what keeps us going all the time.
Okay, you spoke about your 8-year-long entrepreneurial journey, and I'm going to open this question to both of you. In these 8 years, what were the toughest lessons that you learned as entrepreneurs? Let me start with you, Alan.
Within the company.
Yeah.
We learned that lesson in the past where we wanted to do so many things, but the organization wasn't really ready for it. And as crazy entrepreneurs, you just want to run all the time, but it's hard for everyone else to catch up.
One we learned early on, which is, and I think Alan has already touched on this in one of your previous questions, but letting the markets come to you. Because early on, when you're a first-time entrepreneur in particular, and for us, Truecaller was our third venture, but it was really the first time we had employees at such a larger scale. And what we learned was that you can't go after users or customers by doing a bunch of market spend, etc. What you have to make sure is that your product market fit is fantastic, and once you have that, the users will come to you and they will tell their friends about this fantastic app, this great experience that they're having. And we learned this lesson both by just observing what was happening on our market, but also initially when we were in a kind of crossroads and we needed to decide, because the Swedish venture capital firms, they didn't understand Truecaller and the value that it brought to smartphone users. And so they asked us, when are you or how are you going to approach the US market or the British market?
Everyone wants to get a piece of the US market, right?
That's it, right? Exactly. So that's when our very wise advisor and chairman told us, you should stop focusing on those questions and focus on the markets that are really happening for you. In those days, it was the Middle East, and then shortly thereafter came India.
And India sprung up right to the top of that list. Let me wrap up this interview quickly by asking Alan, what are the plans for 2017? Are you going to look at expanding your teams, your operations, considering how you've forayed into so many different verticals? What does 2017 look for you like?
So definitely we're going to expand the team. We're going to expand our engineering team in Bangalore this year, but also in Stockholm. But from a product perspective, one of the things that I mentioned before, which are really important for us this year, is to improve the communication between small business owners and consumers. We feel that there's such a big space that no one is actually helping out in. And many of those small business owners, they use Truecaller every day. It's a necessity for their daily work life. And if we can improve that communication and even improve the way they transact with their customers through UPI payments, for instance, then we're making their life so much easier. So small businesses is a space that we're going to focus on a lot this year and making sure that we make their life easier.
All right, we wish you the very best, and Young Turks would be watching out for everything that Truecaller is doing in 2017 and in the coming years as well. Thank you so much for speaking to us on the show. With that, it's a wrap on this special edition of Young Turks. Do tell us what you thought of our show. You can write to us at youngturks@nw18.com. You can also Facebook or tweet us. Thank you very much for watching.
Celebrating 15 years of Young Turks.